Is Harbor Freight a good place to buy preparedness supplies? Today I will talk about 20 or 30 items that can be purchased at Harbor Freight, and I will give recommendations on which ones are worth it, which are good enough, and which should be avoided. In the end, I will mention a product from Harbor Freight, which I believe is the best and most affordable option, if one believes it. Harbor Freight is not comparable to Home Depot or Lowe's, but it is not a dollar store either. Here you won't find tools from Craftsman, DeWalt, or even Ryobi, but there are some decent products. There are several reasons why Harbor Freight might be a good choice for buying some preparedness supplies. Firstly, some things must be of the highest quality, while others can be more budget-friendly. At Harbor Freight, you can find inexpensive items that work quite satisfactorily. Another reason is that if you already have a quality tool and need a spare, there's no point in spending a lot of money on another if it's only for duplication or for someone else to use. Sometimes you just need to test something. Finally, sometimes it's just too expensive. You may not have the budget to buy branded tools that are very expensive at Home Depot or Lowe's. In that case, it's better to buy something more affordable than nothing at all. Considering all this, I recently visited Harbor Freight and found many useful items I would like to discuss. The first few items are containers. You have 5-gallon buckets. In preparation, such buckets can be used for many different purposes, and every time I see them, I realize that I already have 10 that have never been used, and I would still buy more if needed. 5-gallon buckets are very useful for a variety of tasks. Harbor Freight also offers ammo boxes. You have molded plastic and metal ammo boxes. Again, they are not solely intended for ammunition. There are many other ways to use them in preparation. They stack easily and are great for keeping small items organized. Additionally, there are cases for weapons and toolboxes available for sale. Weapon cases are not necessarily only for weapons. They can also store other items. If you have radio stations or want to assemble a communication kit with a solar panel and battery, you can slightly modify the internal partitions of the cases and organize the communication kit there. There are also many different toolboxes and bags. They even have something like a toolbox backpack, which is quite convenient. The market offers many options, such as 5-liter buckets, ammo boxes, bags, and storage containers. You can also find solar panels and various accessories. However, one should be cautious, as Amazon can offer quite good deals of similar quality. There is always a risk of encountering very cheap solar panels made in China on Amazon. Although these panels are also made in China, their quality is slightly higher than those found on Amazon. However, there are also higher quality panels available that cost about the same. Therefore, it is worth being careful. If you find a coupon or a good discount, one of these solar panels might be a good purchase. I bought one of the small 9-watt panels and tested it, and got about 7 watts. They work, but at full price I would probably choose Amazon or another store to buy solar panels. Besides, there are batteries, Thunderbolt batteries, regular alkaline batteries, and even rechargeable ones. They are similar in quality to Amazon Basics batteries, which cost about the same, and sometimes even a bit more, but serve the same function. They will have the same capacity and can power similar devices. So if you find a coupon, it might be a great deal worth using. But if not, there are other options. I already mentioned coupons, and this is how Harbor Freight operates. They send emails every day, so be sure to subscribe to their newsletter to receive various daily coupons. There are things you will be willing to pay full price for, but many items at Harbor Freight are worth waiting for a discount. You can also find inverters at Harbor Freight, some of which can be quite expensive. I would strongly recommend being cautious with modified sine wave inverters. If you find a good coupon and can get a great deal, go for it. Otherwise, there are more profitable options. Rechargeable fans are also for sale. Many of their power tools use the same batteries as these fans. They are very useful in the garage. Some even have USB ports, so you can charge something else from this battery. Rechargeable fans are something that is always good to have on hand. You don't need to spend $100 on one. Such fans can be bought quite cheaply. There are also many different extension cords, which are always important in case of an emergency or disaster when the power grid is down. Whether we use an inverter or an external generator, we need an extension cord to connect it inside. Or, if we have a portable power station and we want to provide lighting in a specific room or part of it, extension cords and the right size of cable are very important. These things can also be purchased at the Harbor Freight store. In addition, they offer a variety of light sources, from lanterns and headlamps to rechargeable solar outdoor lights and garage fixtures. There are even small flashlights and spotlights. In general, many lighting options for emergencies. I believe it's important to have at least 1 or 2 quality flashlights, but I probably have 20 or 30 cheap flashlights around the house, and most of them work just fine. You can also find camping supplies and home safety items in the store. There are stakes for tents, fire starters, and even slingshots that can be useful in an emergency. As for home security products, I prefer simple and reliable solutions, like alarms for doors and windows. I can set them up now, and in case of an alarm, they will work without a mobile phone, internet, or electricity. Security lights and cameras are also available, many different things to consider. They are not very complicated, but they serve their purpose and are better than nothing. I mentioned batteries for cordless drills, but there are other power tools as well. They are not as high quality as DeWalt, but they will get the job done. Some of them are quite affordable, and it might be useful to buy something to test them in action. However, I would recommend being cautious when spending a few hundred on tools, as it's important that they work. In this price range, you get what you pay for, and you won't be disappointed if something breaks. This could be a good opportunity to acquire something that will serve as a backup if you already have something of higher quality. The store also has hand tools that are more affordable. There you can find hammers, saws, screwdrivers, socket sets, and various tools for car repairs, including wrenches and tire repair kits. There are many inexpensive tools that do not require investments in expensive brands like Snap-on. Of course, such tools are nice to have, but more affordable options will do the job just as well. Stores like Harbor Freight offer a variety of items, including ratchets for socket sets. I would advise taking one and testing it in advance to be prepared for an emergency. These stores have a lot of hand tools that perform well and are significantly cheaper than in large stores. As for knives, I would be more cautious here. These are not the knives to use as primary tools. Their cost ranges from $20 to $30, and although they can handle the task once or twice, they should not be relied upon in a critical situation. For example, they have a Rambo-style knife. It looks impressive and could make a good gift, but essentially, it's just an unreliable tool. It has a hollow handle, which means it's not a solid metal knife and could break at any moment. However, there are more useful things, such as box cutters and drywall saws, which can turn out to be quite good. I would recommend trying a few of them, perhaps as gifts, but they should not be relied upon in critical situations. Recently, I reviewed a survival kit that is also sold there, and it is quite good. Although I wouldn't keep it in its original form in my emergency backpack or car, it has many useful elements that can be handy in other kits. The container itself is quite high quality. For $25, it could make a nice gift or simply an interesting purchase for oneself. There are also sections for gardeners and outdoor work, where one can find a variety of tools such as rakes, shovels, axes, and hatchets. These are the things we don't always think about when planning supplies, but in the case of natural disasters like earthquakes or hurricanes, they can be extremely useful. Therefore, having such tools will always be a plus. If you do not plan to use them often, buying a few from Harbor Freight might be a good idea. However, it is worth noting that some of these axes and similar tools may have plastic handles. I'm not entirely sure how much I can trust this, but it might be worth buying one and testing it to understand what options you have if the pen breaks. You also have personal protective equipment, gloves, and masks. There are even overalls, although I'm not sure about their quality. Their masks are not medical grade, but they can still be useful. They have a wide assortment of nitrile gloves, from 2 to 7 millimeters, really thick ones. They also have knee pads and similar items. Here, one can find many personal protective equipment that would be quite suitable. It might be worth purchasing quality N95 masks and several from this assortment for times when the best are not desired. They also have films, tarps, and blankets that can be important in various situations. Film can be used to create shelter, to seal windows to retain heat inside. Tarps can be used for covering, and blankets for warmth. There are many reasons why all this can be useful in survival conditions. I often talk about film, but it's always useful to have some of it in reserve for any kind of disaster. In addition to the idea of building shelters, you also have ties, ropes, tapes, glues, and similar items. Ties can be used in various ways. Ropes will also be useful for many tasks. Glues and tapes are what you might need at the most unexpected moment. Always, little things can ruin your plans. Having ties, ropes, glues, and tapes can really make a significant difference. You will be glad you have them if you need them. At the beginning of the video, I mentioned my favorite product from Harbor Freight, which I consider a great deal and a reliable product, the Predator generators. I have a 3500-watt Predator generator, and I absolutely love it. The reviews for these generators are just amazing. Many campers and RV owners love their Predator generators. You can buy these generators at a price significantly lower than Honda or others, and they work almost as well. Honda has a bit more efficiency and better warranties, but you won't be disappointed if you buy a Predator generator. However, I must say that they recently released a small Predator power station, and from what I've seen, it's complete nonsense. Today, the market offers a variety of energy sources, and there is no need to choose something inefficient. I wouldn't recommend doing that. Inverter generators work great. There are also regular gasoline generators available. Some Predator models can run on 2 types of fuel, making it a worthwhile purchase. You don't need to spend a fortune on a Honda inverter generator or something similar. Reliable options can be found at Harbor Freight. I have had such a generator for about a year. I don't use it often, but so far I haven't had any problems with it. Generators and inverters can take up a significant part of your preparation budget. Also, if you have limited space, they may not be suitable for you. Although there are many sizes, if that's not an option, I have a video where I consider alternatives to generators. If you live in an apartment or somewhere without the possibility of using a generator, check out this video for alternatives. Take care and be prepared. See you.